Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fajira. If you're joining me for the very first time, I'm so happy to have you all in our beautiful family. So in today's video guys, I'll be talking about the changes to the UK student visa rules for dependents. There has been so many changes recently to student dependent visa, and this has brought about so many questions as well from my viewers and other people as well. So like we know that the UK government had already announced that students are not allowed to bring their dependents to the UK. So this has frequently asked questions with answers from immigration solicitors and legal advisors. So just as you can see that on the 23rd of May 2023, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman announced in a written statement that the government would be removing the right for international students to bring their dependent unless they are on postgraduate courses currently designed as research programs. This has already come into force, like we know. Also, the announcement was confirmed in the government statement of changes on the 17th of July 2023, which set out that the amendments to the student visa application process, the rights for student dependents, and the transition from the student visa to work visas. The changes affect students who applied after 3 p.m. on the 17th July 2023 for a course starting or after 1st January 2024, which students can still bring their dependents. If a student commences their studies on or after 1st of January 2024, only the following types of students are permitted to bring dependents to the UK. 1. A government-sponsored student studying a course that lasts more than 6 months, or a full-time student on a postgraduate level course that QF level 7 or above that lasts 9 months or longer. The sponsoring institution must have a track record of compliance which is shown on the register of sponsors. The postgraduate level course must be classed as one of the following: a PhD or doctorate degree, a research-based higher degree. Now, what if I plan to study for a bachelor's or master's degree in the UK? Like I said, that these are questions and all the answers are answered by immigration lawyers. So those studying a non-research based master's degree can no longer sponsor their dependents under the student visa route. Previously, students studying any master's degree would be eligible to bring their dependent, as a master's degree is considered ROFQ level 7. However, those applying after 1st of January 2024 now have to show that the course is research-based. Now, with regards to undergraduate studying, only bachelor students who are on government-sponsored program of at least 6 months will be able to bring their dependents to the UK. This has remained the same as previous rules. For the previous students' dependent rules and for those whose courses began before 1st January 2024, please see our blog. What's a research-based higher degree? As you can see, paragraph 6 of the immigration rules defines a research-based degree as a postgraduate program comprising a research component, including a requirement to produce original work that is larger than any accompanying thought components when measured by student effort. Essentially, it would involve a course which requires a higher amount of student research in comparison to thought study. When applying for a student visa, you are required to obtain a confirmation of acceptance of studies, which is your CAS. This is an electronic record that the sponsor university produces for the Home Office to verify your place at the university. So with this CAS, it's just like your COS. This is what you use to apply for your visa. Just like your CS, to show that you've got a job in this organization, the CAS enables you to show that you've got admission in this institution or university. So for some universities, such as University of Cambridge, a CAS will confirm if your course is considered research-based. Now, what is a government-sponsored student? This is what a lot of people have been asking me. Now, this is the answer to that question. Along with those studying a PhD or research-based higher degree, those who are government-sponsored students studying a course that lasts 6 months or more can also apply to bring dependents to the UK, which is a good news. This means that the fees for the course you are studying in the UK must be covered by a scholarship, including your maintenance costs, as set out in the Student and Child Student Casework Guidance. In order to be eligible to bring dependents on a scholarship, the scholarship must be 1. Government-funded scholarship, 2. From a central government department and cover all fees and living costs for the student. So if it's the government that is covering everything, then you can still bring your dependent. Now, student dependent extension application. Student dependents granted permission prior to 1st January 2024. If the student commenced their studies prior to 2024 and provided the dependent was initially granted permission as a student dependent, they will be able to apply for an extension to their visa. This applies even where the student does not fall into one of the exceptions in the new rules. The new rules do not apply to those who commence their studies before 1st January 2024. Even at the extension stage, you must continue to meet the relevant requirements for a student dependent. You always have to meet the requirement. If you watched my previous video, you will see the letter that was sent from Home Office to a student dependent that was applying for a care visa. So you always have to meet the requirement, because one of the things about getting a UK visa is you always have to meet the Home Office requirements, because you may get a proper COS and at the end of the day you do not meet the Home Office requirements, and once you are not able to meet the Home Office requirement, your visa will be refused, or they will email you to send in more documents, just like they did to the other person I shared their letter from Home Office. Student dependents granted permission after 1st January 2024. So this is for student dependents granted permission after January 2024. If the student meets the condition under the new rules for bringing a dependent and their dependent has been granted a visa, the dependent will be able to apply for an extension through the same means as those who applied prior to 1st January 2024. Now, student dependents seeking to extend their stay when the student applies for a postgraduate visa. This is a common question I've been receiving. Now, I'm going to take that question again. Student dependents seeking to extend their stay when the student applies for a graduate visa. Now, whether the student commenced their course before or after January 2024, so long as the dependent was initially granted leave as a student dependent, the immigration rules allows them to extend their stay as dependents. Did you get that? For those who have been asking me, Fajira, am I going to send my dependents back to my country? I'm going to answer that now. Whether the student commenced their course before or after 1st January 2024, so long as the dependent was initially granted leave as a student dependent, the immigration rules allows them to extend their stay as dependents. The main student must be granted permission to stay as a graduate in order for the dependent to extend their leave under this route. Now, this brings me to you that you should always try to make sure you have completed your studies, because this will be a problem if you have not completed your studies. Just like in my previous video, when the dependent applied and used the student as his dependent, the Home Office are very clever. They emailed the main applicant saying the students that you're putting in your new application as your dependents have not completed their studies. So ensure you try your best and complete your studies to prevent this. So as you can see, new dependents are not permitted on the graduate route, except for where a dependent child is born in the UK during a period of student or graduate leave. Note that in December 2023, the government announced that they plan on reviewing the graduate route in order to maintain their aim of reducing migration to the UK. So this may be subject to change as well. Another question, just as you can see on my screen, if I was offered a course prior to 1st January 2024 but deferred to start after 1st January, do the new rules apply to my dependent? And the answer is, even if you were offered a place on a course which commenced prior to 1st January before 2024 but deferred your start date until after this date, you will be subject to the new dependent rule. If you have been following me on this channel, this was exactly what happened to me. In 2011, when I came in as a student, I was meant to start in January and I deferred to September, and the new rule was announced and I was affected. So another question, as you can see on my screen, if I study one of the eligible courses, do I need to make my student application at the same time as my dependent's application? If you are eligible to apply, your dependents can either make the application at the same time as you or separately. However, if the dependent wishes to apply separately, they must ensure that the student has been granted permission as a student prior to applying. This is the same for those applying before or after 1st January 2024. Now, if I am granted a student dependent visa, can I work and study? If you are a dependent over the age of 16, there are no restrictions on the type of work you can do in the UK. Subject to the following exemptions: you cannot work as a training doctor or dentist, and you cannot work as a professional sports person or coach. There are no study restrictions for student dependents. So guys, this is just what it takes, and I hope this answers most of your questions. And like you know, I will always share every information to help you on this channel. Okay, so if you're planning to study in the UK as a dependent, you're not restricted. As a dependent, you're not even restricted to switch your visa, but ensure that at any point you'll be switching your visas. The student should complete their studies before joining you on the new visa route you're switching to. If not, the application will not go through. And at the same time, like my previous video said, that once you're not able to provide every document and your visa has also expired as well and the application is rejected, then you become an overstayer. So guys, this is just what it is, and I hope most of your questions have been answered in this video. These questions were answered by solicitors and immigration advisors. That is why I thought I should share with you, so to give more clarity on what is going on at the moment. If you have anybody or any friend that is also confused about this whole student dependent switch and so on, please do like and share this video with them, because this would definitely calm them. And by the time I get more information about this, as I keep doing my research, I will definitely come back and share with you guys. So this brings us to the end of this video, and I hope you find this video helpful. And if you do find this video helpful and you're yet to subscribe to join our beautiful family, do hit on that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, so each time I upload a new video, you're definitely going to be the very first person to see that video. Until I see you in my next video, thank you for watching. Bye for now.